Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally happened. Subaru broke. His burden became unbearable. This episode, episode 7. Damn. Holy fuck. I've always felt bad for Subaru because he's had this ability. You could either say it's a curse or a blessing. But I felt bad for him because he's forced to suffer a shit ton. He feels pain. And a lot of his deaths are not painless. They're not instant. He has to sit there and suffer for a couple of minutes under intense amounts of pain. He's had limbs cut off. He's been stabbed in the back. He's had his bowels removed and everything. And his most recent death was jumping off a cliff and splattering against the ground. He's suffered a lot. He's gotten a lot of injuries. And that's just the physical pain. Imagine the emotional pain he's suffering, where all of his bonds, all of his love interest bonds, all of his friendship bonds that he forms with people between these checkpoints, if he dies before completing that checkpoint, they get erased. While he has a memory, they don't remember him. So he has to restart the relationship with them. Continue it until he completes checkpoint 2, and whatever relationship style he tried with that, that's only what he gets. Physical pain, emotional pain, and mental pain, where it's just a combination of both of those, and the strain from that. It broke. It snapped. He had a mental breakdown because, well, his recent death, not the one where he did it himself, where his recent murder, Rem tortured him. She cut off his leg so he couldn't escape, and beat him with chains whenever he didn't answer how she wanted him to. She beat him with chains. She healed his leg wound just so he wasn't bleeding out and he was going to have a quick death, and then she tortured him. She tortured him for information because she believed he was a spy. A rule of the maids: punish anyone who's suspicious. She thought he was with the witch's cult. The jealous witch's cult. Apparently the jealous witch did something to Rem and Ram. It ruined their lives, and now that Subaru, cloaked in her aura, her stink and everything, has arrived there, they became instantly suspicious for her. The motive Rem killed him was they were suspicious about him. If he was really part of the jealous witch's cult, he could ruin their lives at the place where they truly belong. They did not want that. Ram wasn't involved with the murder. She didn't even know about it. She had gotten friendly and everything, but Rem. Subaru had spent more time with Ram and everything in this life than he did with Rem. What's with all them R names? Rem, Rom, Reem, whatever. But he'd spent more time with her, developing more friendship with Ram instead of Rem. So Ram trusted him, Rem didn't. But in another life, we had Ram who didn't trust him, but Rem did, because he had spent more time with her. In his new life, he's going to have to spend an equal amount of time with them, which will be difficult because he only has 4 days. On the 4th night, he dies. And even if he doesn't die that night, there's no guarantee that he won't die the 5th night, or the 6th night, or the 7th. Until he can clear suspicions about himself, he's destined to die. He can't escape it. Rem tracked him when he escaped the mansion. When he left, she tracked him down and killed him. Oh, God. Let me backtrack for a moment and talk about Subaru's mental strain again. This mental strain caused him to flee to Betsy, or Beatrice, who we still don't know what type of being she is, but she possesses great magical power, and she makes a contract with Subaru. A contract of protection. It's temporary, but there's no time limit. She protects him throughout the episode, and he was having nightmares about being tortured by Rem. He's afraid of Rem and everything. Just her face. It was ingrained in his mind and everything. And here's the thing. that contract came really in handy because we find out later on, Rem dies of physical weakness. Subaru didn't die. He survived the fourth night, this life, because he was hiding in the library. But Rem, she died, sorry. Physical weakness. Now, if we remember correctly, Subaru has died from physical weakness. Well, one death was from physical weakness. The other one was a partial kill from physical weakness, but also partial kill from either Rem or Ram at that point. So, it's an outside source. And one of my Nation Knights and everything mentioned the night he didn't die, the night he was fleeing from the mansion, he didn't visit the village. He didn't visit that village with a dog. Dogs don't normally have a bald spot on top of their head. And we learned about shamans previous episode, which were a subclass of magic and spiritual users. Now, magic, there's forbidden magic and everything. We know this, they have a whole archive of forbidden magic over at the mansion, but what's to say there isn't illusionary magic, where they can transform their appearance? If there is, then Rem and Ram, who are either Oni, demons, or whatever, are using it to disguise themselves, and the dog could be a shaman, because Subaru was bitten by it each time, and then he skipped a night where he didn't even go see it, and he just died of straight up murder. And he also had marked that Rem likes dogs. So Rem visits the village regardless if Subaru goes there or not. She goes shopping. So when the dog bites her or him, it's a curse of physical weakness that kills him later that night, or maybe the next day. I wonder if Subaru's going to be able to pick that up. I really do wonder if he's going to pick that up. This episode, it was completely serious. It was very, brutal. The torture scene, that was brutal. The splat sound after he jumped off and everything, after he regained his resolve and everything, that was horrible. Ram had chased him down in a fury and everything, and Subaru realized, well, with the help of Betty and everything, he regained his resolve, because he loves everyone there. He's grown fond of them. He's lived a couple lives there and everything. He's gotten so used to them. He has made bonds with them. Even though they've forgotten them, he loves them. He's become close to them. And this result gives him some resolve to die once more to save them. And this time he committed suicide. I wasn't too sure what was going to happen if he killed himself. I thought it was maybe only when someone else kills him he respawns, but it seems to be that when he kills himself, it's going to work regardless. So that's good. Now, when Subaru tried to spill the beans about his ability to Amelia, because he had woken up and he was under massive mental strain and everything, because he didn't want to die anymore. He didn't want to die, he didn't want to suffer, he didn't want to lose any bonds, he just wanted to get the fuck away there. He couldn't take the pain anymore. And I don't blame him. He's died 6 times, 5 times. That's more than anyone ever. Imagine the amount of pain he's gone through. And he can't share that burden, because the moment he tried sharing it, time froze, and this dark arm grabbed his heart and instilled fear in him. So he can't share his ability whatsoever. He can't say, I've died several times now, or stuff like that. And here's what I think. Based on what we know, that he's surrounded by the stink of the Jealous Witch and everything, the Jealous Witch summoned him to this world. She gave him this blessing / curse of returns by death, and will not allow him to talk about it. He is basically her pawn. He's going to serve some purpose for her. We don't know what purpose. But here's another thing. Every time he's died, it always involves Amelia. And Satella is the name of the Jealous Witch. Is the Jealous Witch Amelia's mother? I believe she has some form of connection to Amelia, because Amelia chose that name as her own for a bit. I am really curious what the Jealous Witch's motives are, and if we'll ever see her. We can basically say with this, that the fairy tales, the folk tales of Lugunica, and probably this fantasy world in general, are all true. We have the dragon, and now we have the Jealous Witch. She obviously exists. She's probably immortal at this point, super all-powerful, stronger than probably Rosewall, and she might become like the main enemy of the series. We don't know that just yet, but she's obviously causing problems for Subaru, and I really want to know her motives, and how Subaru is going to actually go back, because he killed himself and everything after regaining his resolve after having a whole mental breakdown for half of the episode. How is he going to save them? Is he going to be able to narrow it down, or is he going to die another time before finally narrowing it down? That we don't know. And honestly, I was really surprised because he was having nightmares about Rem and Ram. Well, mostly Rem. And you saw his hands were glowing. You had to assume at first that it was Betty's contract protecting him and everything. But no. Rem and Ram couldn't bear to see him suffer. They held his hands throughout the night. They are very, very kind people. They just are very, very protective of their home, of each other, and everything else. They don't want to lose the place where they belong. And since he's covered in the stink of the jealous witch, who obviously did something to ruin their life, they killed him out of suspicions. Not because he could be a spy, because they didn't want to take that risk. So how is he going to convince them not to kill him, and how to save them from this shaman? This was a damn good episode, and I am so happy I got caught up. Episode 7, honestly thought that Studio White Fox was just gonna shrug off the whole strain. Like it did. Subaru, our main character, seemed to shrug off his death and the whole reset of emotions and character bonds and everything for a while, but it just slowly added up. And I'm glad to see he had a breaking point. And this probably won't be the first time. Thank you, Studio White Fox, for bringing us such a damn good series. Damn good series. And Nation Knights, tell me, for those that have read the light novel or the manga, how good is the adaptation so far at this point? And you can answer my questions, just don't spoil too much, or try not to spoil anything. Give me an indirect answer, or if you're going to spoil, go spoiler, and then just do enough where I have to click see more in order to do that. I'll probably get around to, maybe towards the end of the series, reading the spoiler ones, seeing if it's still anything important. And let me know if I should start reviewing the manga at some point, just to see how brutal it is. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Check out the links in the description where you can go and add me on Twitter and Facebook. Go check out ReZero Episode 7. I'm finally fucking caught up now. The bad thing is, I have to wait a week between each episode. Fuck. Have a good day. Watch lots of anime. Read lots of manga. This is Alex Nation here, signing off. Goodbye, guys. Have a good one.